One of the biggest debates cruisers have is, do I splurge on a balcony or do I save money with an inside room? Balcony cabins get all the love when you talk about the perfect ocean views, breezy private breakfasts, but what if I told you that sometimes an inside cabin is not just a budget choice, but actually the best choice? Today, I want to break down 4 easy signs for you that an inside cabin is exactly what you need. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RealCaribbeanBlog.com, and I want to share my own tips and some real-world examples so that you can decide if an inside stateroom is the right choice for you. There are some really good reasons why it might make a lot of sense. Let's begin with the first sign, that you booked the ship because of all the amazing things you do on board. Think about it. You're sailing on one of Royal Caribbean's newest ship, like Star of the Seas or Wonder of the Seas. You've got water parks, surf simulators, Broadway-style shows, live music in all the neighborhoods, and enough restaurants to keep you trying new food for a week straight. So let's be honest, are you really going to spend that many hours sitting on your balcony when there's so much happening outside your door? In my experience, probably not. Inside cabins make a ton of sense if you're the kind of traveler who only uses your room for sleeping, showering, and changing clothes. You're going to want to be out there on the zip line or watching the Aqua Theater show, maybe at the swim up bar on Star of the Seas, or maybe you're even just hanging by the pool like a classic cruise day. In all these cases, the balcony is really nice to have, don't get me wrong, but far from a necessity. If you booked this particular cruise because of what the ship has to offer on board, maybe booking an inside cabin is actually a better idea because you booked the ship for all the amazing things, but not necessarily the cabin. Now, that isn't to say that they're mutually exclusive, and you can enjoy your time on your balcony cabin in addition to the amazing things on board. But in my experience, when you pick a ship like Icon of the Seas or Utopia of the Seas, it has all these crazy, amazing things to do on board and all these must-dos, this usually leads you to not spending as much time in your cabin as you might think. So from a reality check, if you're really booking the ship because of the activities, well then maybe let the cabin just be a functional place for the basics to happen, but it also gives you exactly what you need and nothing you don't. Second sign that you need to book an inside cabin is you're a light sleeper. Now, this one surprises a lot of first-timers. Balconies look absolutely relaxing, and they are, but the reality is they can be a little bit loud, and to be truthful, a lot of that natural light that comes in could wake you up. Picture this. Your ship is docking in a busy port at 6 in the morning. You'll feel the engines rumbling, you'll hear the ropes being thrown, forklifts on the truck and the pier, and if you're in Alaska or Northern Europe in the summer, the sun comes up at like 4 or 5 a.m. and blasts right into your room. But if you're in an inside cabin, you don't have any of that. It's like a cocoon, quiet, dark, no early sunlight, no dockside noise. I can't tell you how many people have told me that they had the best night's sleep ever when they're in an inside room. So I'll give you a real story. A friend of mine was cruising on Independence of the Seas and booked a balcony. Every single morning, the rising sun woke them up hours earlier than they wanted. Meanwhile, people that were in an inside room down the hall slept like rocks completely undisturbed. Now, obviously, everybody sleeps differently, but if you're sensitive to light or noise, an inside cabin could actually be a better choice than a balcony. And hey, if you want a little natural light, Royal Caribbean even offers virtual balcony cabins in some ships, which offer you a floor-to-ceiling screen that shows real-time ocean views, but with all the peace and quiet of an inside room. You can always turn off that screen when you don't want it, but it's nice when you wake up in the morning, whenever that happens to be, and you can use the remote to turn it on and see what's going on outside. The third sign you might want an inside cabin hits close to home for me. You love it cold in your cabin. This one's simple. Inside cabins stay cooler than balcony cabins. Because there's no direct sunlight pouring in, the room's temperature is easier to control, and the air conditioning feels way stronger. I've heard from a lot of cruisers who have a balcony room, and it felt like it turned into a greenhouse in the afternoon, especially during summer Caribbean sailings. Even with the curtains drawn, the heat from the sun makes it harder for the AC in your room to keep up. Now, I don't want to scare you. It's not like it's going to be a sauna in your room. It's just that it makes it more difficult for the AC to keep up, if you will. Inside cabins, by contrast, feel consistently cool and dark. It's perfect if you want to have that meat locker effect when you sleep. And I'm not judging, by the way, because I am one of those people. For anyone that runs warm at night, so to speak, this is a big deal because I know of a lot of cruisers who simply pick interior rooms for that exact reason. They'll say they just don't care about the view. They just want to sleep cold, or rather, it's more important to be comfortable when they're sleeping than it is maybe to have the view. So if you're the type of person who keeps the thermostat at 65 at home, or if you just simply can't stand waking up sweaty, inside cabins deliver exactly what you're looking for. The fourth sign you might want to pick an inside room instead of a balcony is your itinerary is packed with port days. Now, this is really common in places like Europe and the Caribbean. If you're off the ship by 8 a.m., exploring Rome, Barcelona, or St. Thomas, or heck, if you're in Alaska and going to Juneau and Skagway and Ketchikan, and you don't return until dinner, then the balcony really is a wasted space. You're literally not there to use it. I find the best use of balconies primarily on sea days because, well, there's a lot to look at and enjoy the view. Now, there is something to be said about having a balcony on a port day for like when you first get up in the morning to see what the weather's like. And then for sail away, it is nice to have it. I'm not going to deny that. I would argue the sail away thing can be experienced from a public deck. And I would argue that the morning issue of being able to go out and kind of just see out there, I mean, it's nice, but it's not the end of the world. And I feel like it's one of those things like many of the tips we're sharing in this video where it's nice to have, but not a necessity. And remember, balcony prices on port-heavy itineraries like Alaska and Europe can be hundreds of dollars more per person. If you're never around to enjoy it, why not pocket those savings and use that extra money for excursions, special dining, or even booking another cruise completely? These 4 signs to book an inside cabin are really about being practical more than anything else. In many cases, not always, but I'll book an inside cabin when I cruise alone because all that extra space and amenities are lost on me being there as a solo cruiser. Now, I don't always do that. Sometimes I do get a nicer room, but really don't let the pressures of having, quote unquote, to have a balcony room force you, so to speak, into getting a balcony room. An inside room is totally fine, and you won't feel necessarily claustrophobic on it. In fact, you might love it for those reasons I mentioned earlier, like being able to sleep better, having it really cold in there, and on top of that, saving a lot of money. If you are leaning towards booking an inside cabin now, but you need like something more to push you over the edge, let me give you this little bit of advice. When I book an inside cabin, if I'm going to go in that direction, I'm going to book a very convenient inside cabin. So instead of booking, say, a guaranteed inside cabin, I'll spend a little bit more money in order to get a specific room. And I like to pick an inside cabin that is very convenient to some of the public areas like the Royal Promenade. When I was on Mariner this year, I picked one that was right off deck 6. So I could easily go from deck 6 down to deck 5 and enjoy the promenade without long, relatively speaking, commute times. It's so convenient having a room really close to the Royal Promenade, or if you're a pool person, well, then enjoy the pool deck and get a cabin near there. But being able to quickly go back and forth from your cabin to a public area conveniently is a really nice area. And there are so many more inside cabins on lower decks near places like the main dining room or the Royal Promenade or the Royal Esplanade that it really does make it almost worthwhile in and of itself because it's just so convenient. And so for the lazy out there like myself, that is another good reason, and maybe like your 5th sign, that you should get an inside cabin. I wouldn't use it as like one of the top reasons why I didn't make our list here, but as I was recording this, I really started thinking, you know what, that's actually another really good reason, a compelling argument to pull the trigger on an inside cabin. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. Am I crazy with some of these signs, or do they make a lot of sense? And if you've stayed in an inside cabin before, let us also know your experiences about why sometimes it just makes sense to go with an inside over a balcony. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way, YouTube lets you know of a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.